Hi, I'm Seo Kelleher. I live in the USA. I'm a shaman, as in kind of a coach, and I do energy work and more of a shaman work. But I'm also an author. So I created this morning calm oracle deck in collaboration with Alodia. Alodia did all the illustration here. Um, and I did that because I use Oracle deck and tarot cards for some of my work, not all of it, for some of my work, but I've always found living in America, most of these cards didn't have people that didn't look like me. So there are not that many Asian representation, let alone Korean um, representation, which I was born and raised in Korea. So even though I'm an American, I have ancestry in Korea. Was inspired to create a deck that reflected who I was. So it reflected my American way of using these oracle cards, but also reflected where I come from. So I have had the Korean roots or the Asian spirituality. I think even though I say Korean, most Asian countries share a lot of elements. Um, so that's how I ended up creating the Morning Calm Oracle. So you did more than 45, but in the deck, there are 45 artworks. So I selected 45, but you ended up doing maybe 48.
Oh, yeah,
But one didn't get selected for the deck. People ask this a lot, and I think sometimes they start the art first, but for us, we started from the meanings first. So the oracle cards have each card has a meaning, and I knew what I want the meaning to be for each card. I knew there had to be 44, 45 cards, and I wrote all the meanings. I wrote it all down. Then I visualized what I kind of wanted on, and then I'll send that to Alodia, and then Alodia will create her own. So I don't think you copied any of them, but you kind of used, right? You did your own original artwork from that.
Yeah. I also look up at Google and internet how other people draw it. I look up so I don't imitate. Like this card is special for you. This card is also special for me, and I don't want like like when people look at it and then like, oh yeah, I see it somewhere on internet. I don't want to be like that. And it's not just like an happy and cute things, but I think like this card is not about that. Like you have the representation of the woman. I remember like when I came out with this old woman, and then you came out not this old woman. I want this old woman to be gracefully. I think this is the special thing about this card is also like how the representative of women on this card.
Yeah, so it's more than just pretty picture, because anybody can do just pretty picture. So I think what worked for us was I had the meaning, and then you understood the meaning first. You kind of got the meaning, and then you created the art.
These were my favorite.
Oh yeah, mine too.
Yeah.
Those two are my favorite too. They're all my favorite, but that warrior card and Funyun, that one.
Yeah, they are like I think they are special.
And some of the pictures, I sent a picture of me, right? Like I sent you a photo of me, and then um, even though what you painted didn't look like me, it actually had the energy of who I am. But this, you could kind of see that's me in a field of wildflower, and then you painted this, which is kind of course, it's more beautiful, of course, but that energy. So when people see this picture, they somehow feel like, I don't know what, but this feels like you, Theo. And I'm like, really? Because that's what it feels to me. So this is my favorite card. And then this one, like, she just looks like me. The people like her face, because I sent you my picture, and people are like, "Oh, that's you!" Like her body, and I didn't want it to make everything look like me, but I appreciated their certain design that I felt very connected style in Korea, and it's quite popular. And even Koreans are like, we didn't know she wasn't Korean. Like this is all painted by an Indonesian artist, but like she really like everything you did just made it so much traditionally accurate for the Korean culture.
Oh yeah? Wow.
Yeah, they're like, we didn't know this was not a Korean artist. This wasn't Korean artist. This was
Yeah.
Indonesia.
Yeah. It's also thanks to you because like you are very attentive about the clothes also, like when I'm made a mistake and on the sketches you also point out and how it should be, and so I think it's also because of you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so we met and then we have like we exchange some emails. Seo have all the meaning. Seo knows it herself, like how the card should be from the very first. Seo has all the list done, and then
Yeah, 10 at a time. Yeah.
yeah, 10 of the time, and then I did some sketches, and then she saw it, and then she gave me advices like maybe if the clothes are not right, and then I start drawing it, I start do the coloring. Do you have any advices for the girls and for the artists and illustrator aspire to be in my place?
But I feel like number one, you need to get good, right? Like, because you need to get good. You are drawing a woman, like they should be proportional, your body should be proportional. You know how some, so you need to really practice. Like Alodia has, she could just, you know how she could just on Instagram she could draw, and so you need to get good. Another thing is I think you need to be feeling. So I think my recommendation will be if you want your artwork to be meaningful, then you should be able to feel the emotion. When I say like I want the energy of sisterhood and women coming together and magic of a full moon, you can't just create a big circle on top and then draw a bunch of women. Like you have to feel, oh my god, if I'm here power in under full moon with a bunch of my female friends, how wonderful would I feel? How powerful would it be? Like you should be able to kind of be feel the feeling of what it is, you know, like I also want to show this one. This one, there's no example. This is just you you felt it, you understood it, and then it was just came out of your imagination, right? Like I didn't
Yeah.
give this picture. I just said I just want something like this. I just explained the feeling, and then you created this amazing work. So there was no example. This one you just. So how did you do this?
Yeah. I learned about reincarnation, like my mom was she's some kind fond of that the concept, and then she broke a lot of books about reincarnation, about people who tell the world that he was this person before, he was this person before. There are a circular pattern here. I talk about how reincarnation should be like. They are not linear. So I try to create something that is circular to represent like the cycle of the life of the reincarnation to be life again. Yeah, so I came up with that, with the colors and everything.
Yeah, it's just beautiful. So this is an example of like you understanding
Mm-hmm.
my meaning, but then you thought deeper. Like
Oh,
you kind of got into your own feelings and ideas, and then you created it. So this wasn't simply like I tell you what I think, and then you try to create it. It's like it's a collaboration, really,
yeah.
truly. Like you know, part of me, part of Alodia went in, and then we made this. So
So for the sum up, what an illustrator need to be for a collaboration project. Um, so the illustrator, they need to learn a lot enough about the technical of the art, so they can deliver what the other parts want. Like me, if I'm not confident about how my skill on arts, I won't be able to deliver what Seo wants on the arts to be. And then the second, the illustrator need to have the ability to feel and to draw the feeling. It's not about technical, it's not about the visual only, but also how the feeling could deliver. And how the feeling could deliver, you need also a lot of research and you need a lot of maybe discussion. Yeah.
I think the third thing I didn't mention is you also need to be flexible. If
Mm.
you were working with somebody like me who will be like working on a big project like this, that you're being flexible and communicative to change things. Because you know how sometimes artists can be like, no, like this is perfect. I don't want to change that. But we're creating it together, right? So if you want just your work, then do your own work, right? But then when you're working with someone like someone else, you're creating it together. So maybe it's a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. So you guys please check SEO websites also, SEO Instagram and everything because I learned a lot from SEO and I hope you guys also learn a lot from SEO.
Awesome. Thank you. This was so fun, Alodia. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.